Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another awareness session of Reconstructing Minds. My name is Shantario, aka Brother Midnight. Um, going to be discussing several things within this awareness session, um, and really getting to the gist of what's going on within our society with this senseless violence and all these things that are tearing us down as a people. So I'm going to be sticking strictly with the literature. I'm not going to give my personal opinion because my personal opinion does not really amount to anything. I just want to deal with the facts of where we're at as a society and what it is going to take for us to get where we need to be going. Our youth is our future. And we need to be more determined, more now than ever, to re-educate the minds of our youth. They are dying at an alarming rate. But what are we doing as a middle and older generation to combat this vicious cycle of death, incarceration, and recidivism? And the first thing we need to ask ourselves is, what is the enemy? What is the enemy? Is it other organizations? Is it black, white, Mexican? What is the enemy? We need to take a much broader look into what we need to be doing as a people to educate ourselves on how to combat this enemy of ours that has kept us dormant, that has kept us down for generations to come. On page 44 in the blueprint, it says, what is the enemy? Exactly what is our enemy? Is it man, beast, automation, or technology? It is none of the above. The most formidable of all our foes resides in the uncharted recesses of our minds, and it is called illiteracy. Illiteracy means being in an unconscious or unknowing state of mind. Illiteracy stiffens or inhibits the minds and hearts of most men, causing them to be incapable of acting in their defense when confronted with a problem that requires thinking, planning, analyzing, and organizing. And that's been our issue for a long time now. We're heading into our 41st year of the new concept, and we still haven't come up with a plan to combat death, incarceration, and recidivism. And the truth of the matter is, the leadership laid out a plan for us a long time ago, back when the new concept was first birthed in September 21st, 1981. And the reality of this is, a lot of us need to come out this old way of thinking, this old mindset that thinking what we did back then is going to work in today's society. The blueprint tells us that we need to be able to speak a language or educate ourselves in order to speak the language of society. For instance, our illiteracy allows us to be walled and lulled into the captivity by thinking that Uzis, nickel-plated 45s, neon lights at night is where the action is. Our illiteracy allows the soft and hard rap from ghetto disc offs and donut wheel gangster leans to serve as balm, or in other words, healing to our throated hopes. It destroys our highest dreams. It brutally suppresses are much needed change. See, a lot of us need to understand that growth and development is about change, man. It is not about remaining the same. You cannot live in 2022 with an old mindset. And a lot of us don't even want to take responsibility for our brother or for our sister. When I say love to you, that means I am willing to accept responsibility for you, and I am willing to share responsibility with you. But when we're out here with a gang banging and gangsterism mentality, how is that going to help fix today's issue? Everyone must do their share. Everybody has a responsibility. And if you thinking that it's only the leadership's responsibility to bring about change, you're mistaken. And a lot of the reason why we're in the state that we're in, because everybody is dependent on somebody else to do the job for them. When we're all supposed to be out here doing what we're supposed to be doing, helping our communities, not tearing them down. And before I go any further, I'd just like to send my prayers and condolences to FBG Cash, his family, FBG Duck, FBG Brick, all those who have lost their lives to senseless violence, man. You know, it's really time to awaken that sleeping giant, man. And realize that my brother or my sister is not my enemy. But don't nobody really want to hear that, though. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to be gangster. Everybody want to stand in the 6-point stands, but don't understand the dynamics of what standing in the 6-point stands truly represents. The new concept is organization. It is not the gang banging mentality of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And we need to hold ourselves accountable, because some of us are not teaching the youth the true essence of growth and development. And then if you teaching it, why teach something if we're not taking the time out to truly apply it to our daily lives? Anybody can teach it. You know, I know people that can recite any and every piece of literature that we have. But if there is no application, what are we reciting it for? You have to wake up day in and day out with a mindset of growth and development. There's not no big I's and little U's in this thing of ours. That's why I appreciate brothers like Johnny Crusher Jackson taking the initiative, doing something without being told to do it. Black Men United, Visionaries Initiative, Dr. Terenzi Bible Wilson. All those brothers and sisters that's taking it. We Are the Village, Dre Gritty G, the brothers down in Missouri. The brother that's responsible for all the strength groups across the United States. They are waking up day in and day out with a mindset of growth and development. It says our literacy keeps us in a coma while social injustices continue to sweep the neighborhood asphalt from under our feet landing us in the human warehouses called prisons. And that's what it's really all about. But so many of us are worried about being tough, trying to prove that we're gangster. You ain't got to prove that you gangster to nobody. Mr. Larry Hoover said this: real gangsters go to the polls. But don't nobody want to hear that conversation because, oh, that's soft. Oh, that's that soft shit. But when will we actually take the time to fully adhere to the teachings of growth and development? I'm going to tell you now. If we don't awaken that sleeping giant within ourselves as individuals that pours out into the collective, we will die as a people. We will die as an organization. Are we ever going to reach a level in our lives to where we're tired of waking up to somebody getting killed, somebody getting murdered? And I'm going to be just painfully honest. You got some brothers and sisters that like that shit. They get a joy out of waking up and hearing bullshit day in and day out. They whole mentality is on bullshit. And that's not what the vision is about. There's no singular dynamic that can explain the vision. But when you get into the teachings of the blueprint, when you really start adhering to the laws and policies that governs us, you will see and understand the true essence of growth and development. It's time to wake up, brothers and sisters. Stop believing in that bullshit that you see on TV. Because whether we realize it or not, we are walking targets. Every day we step outside of our home, we're targets. It's just time to stop bullshitting and stop playing and really come into what growth and development is really all about, and that's change. Positive growth and development. Shout out to Books Up and Guns Down. I see you out there doing the work. Now, when it comes to being a member of this organization, the September 27, 1982 letter says, being a member of this organization is not being tough, but being intelligent, which dictate respect. And a lot of us, we lack respect for our fellow man. We too busy sitting around talking shit about the next person instead of lifting him up, telling him about his shortcomings, embracing him with true love. I ain't talking about that bullshit love, throwing up the pitchforks. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying that that's bullshit, but I'm just saying, man, you know what I'm saying? One thing I've come to understand, the Bible says you'll know a person by the fruits that they bear. You can teach righteous shit, but that don't mean your life actually lines up with what you teach. How are we ever going to be that reckoning power of people if we're still walking around here acting like gangbanging is the only fucking thing we know? The organization is about positive growth and development, not that bullshit that we seeing on the TVs. Everybody looking to the rappers, but the rappers are dying too, though. They the biggest target right now. I want to read you something from the September 17th, 1983 letter, the last paragraph. It says, we must think more positive thoughts and believe in one another. And when it's necessary, we'll be able to rally and overcome whatever situation we're faced with. This is organization. But sitting around, gossiping, backbiting, talking down on your fellow brother, trying to make yourself look good, trying to look like you bigger than the mob. There's no one person bigger than the nation. It don't matter how much literature you know, it's how much literature that you live. This is growth and development. It says page 45, beginning at the top, it says, each one of us carries in our mind a merely a picture of ourselves at present, a self-image, but also a set of pictures of how we wish to be in the future. Illiteracy is what stops that picture from becoming a reality. And let's just be honest. Let's just keep it real for 1 second. Some of us been on bullshit for so long, but that's all we know. How can we make the new concept of organization a reality if we're steady living in the past? Let that shit go. It ain't gonna change nothing. The youth will continue to die at an alarming rate. Mr. Larry Hoover gave his life, his freedom, everything that he had for the organization. And has been incarcerated for over 40, almost 49 years. And what we fail to realize is every time that we do some stupid shit, that shit falls back on him. But nobody want to hear that conversation, though. We got to wake up. It says, the task of bringing our leadership's vision to reality can only be accomplished by thoroughness of our organization to heighten the intellectual level of its members. Now, I want to take this time to explain this. I'm not knocking people for protecting themselves in these rough streets. But you have to be a thinker. You have to be a thinker. You can't speak the language of society and not be a thinker. You got to think about this. The Pledge I says, my every action and behavior and attitude will vividly reflect the positive, dignified principles that this organization is built upon. Not negativism. Not gang banging. Not gangsterism. Not none of that shit that you think is cool. There's only 3 places. Death, incarceration, and recidivism. Death, you ain't coming back. There's not another chance after you die out here in these streets. Following up behind some motherfucker who don't really give a damn about his own life. How are we going to awaken the sleeping giant if we steady follow into the same traps? Because we mad at the next person for doing for taking the initiative and doing what he's supposed to do without being told to do it. Or we mad at that person for sticking with the literature. It says the vision is a call for us to leave the protecting familiarity of the old concept and step boldly and proudly into the positive possibilities inherent in the new concept. The vision is a vision of true freedom. It involves the confrontation of the unknown illiteracy and the untried organization. And I'm going to tell you something about being a part of organization. When you're a part of something greater than yourself, you will think on a level that's greater than yourself. We got too many people out here worried about how the organization can serve them instead of them serving the organization. Or they fucking over the membership. That shit ain't cool. That's not the new concept of organization. It says we should never make it easy for our enemy literacy by relaxing. Because at this stage of our growth and development, examples are crucially important and only cowards give up when the odds are bad. That's the literature. That's not me saying that. That's the blueprint. If you giving up when the odds are bad, that means you are a coward. You are afraid of the endless possibilities that lay before you because of a bad situation or a bad circumstance coming up. It says, however, the dedicated know that they are right in an attempt to win no matter what the odds are. Therefore, it is the purpose of this book to expose what the enemy is. The enemy is not your fellow brother or sister. And I'm not just talking about those who reside within the confines of the organization. But see, don't nobody want to hear this shit though. If I was teaching and talking about bullshit, I have all the subscribers in the world. I'm going to give you what you need to get to the next level according to the teachings, not according to my opinion, but according to the teachings, the black and white, the black ink on white paper, and the blueprint. See, the goal and objective of this book was for those of us who want to live in the true essence of growth and development, to learn from the mistakes of those who came before us. But we can't learn because we too busy repeating the same mistakes. It says, nevertheless, it is another thing to destroy this enemy. It has been the former that much of our activity and thought has been concerned with in the past. Yet it is the latter that we must concern ourselves with now. In order for us to pressure this system in allowing us to pursue our true interests of growth and development, ours has to be a better system. The system that we live in today is based on the vicious cycle of death, incarceration, and recidivism. We have to change the narrative. It says we have to be confident of ourselves. We cannot allow embarrassment nor shyness stand in our way to true freedom from illiteracy. The vision of our struggle meaning movement, is for us to merge our personal, look at what it says. It says, the vision of our struggle is for us to merge our personal development with educational, economical, political, and social development to the point that they are no longer separate. Our personal development has to line up with the 4 initiatives of growth and development. They can no longer be separate. These things, often called impossible, turn out to be very possible when certain unknown forces are brought into action. Turn out to be possible when our new concept brings into action that certain unknown forces by which we can free ourselves from these chains of illiteracy. But first, we must learn how to communicate. There is a communication gap between the older generation and the younger generation. This is from the Mind Line, Communication and Listening. It says, communication is defined by Webster as to give, impart, transmit, impart information or exchange information in any way as talk, gesture, or writing. It also has been defined as the exchange of ideas between people. But however, communication is more than that. It is also an exchange of attitudes and feelings because if there is no agreement of ideas, many times conflicts develop, and as a result, there is a lack of communication. People have a tendency to turn themselves off from you. We have to close this communication gap. Stop thinking that the youth is just some mindless Neanderthals, and all they want to do is shoot guns and kill each other. We cannot treat everybody as they are fucking illiterate, because that's not necessarily true. You got a lot of brothers and sisters that are educated, that have graduated high school, that got their GEDs, and also they have went to college and made something of themselves. It says, however, it is not by chance that we are changing. There is no accident in our leadership's plan. We are here on this earth for a definite purpose. Awaken. But here's the true problem of what's going on. This is from the July 1st, 1983 letter. Problem. We're going to look at problem number 2 and number 3. It says self-hatred. Hating our fellow brother for getting out of his seat to be somebody. Sitting back with animosity, speaking down upon him for taking the initiative to try the task that you refuse to attempt. Feeling that he is conceited when he doesn't have time to play crazy games with you. But he is trying to be somebody in this world. Many of our brothers suffer from this mental disease. Be it known that we will not tolerate you downrating a brother putting forth effort in this organization when you refuse to put forth. Our concept teaches you to aid and assist your brother in righteous endeavors. Instead of speaking down upon him, aid him by rendering your assistance to him if needed. This is organization. But you got too many people who wrapped up in their own selfish mindset. They just selfish for no fucking reason. They just wake up on bullshit every day. They ain't never got nothing good to say about nobody. people that I never had a conversation with. I know this to be true. Say shit about me, and I ain't never said a word to them because I'm different. Because I don't sit around and participate in foolish conversations. You ain't never got nothing good to say about nobody. That ain't organization. That ain't being your brother's keepers. Number 3. Problem 3, disrespect. Our concept teaches us to be respectful and dignified to all. But many of our brothers continue to disregard respect. They will wait for them to be acknowledged by their peers. They must be loud and disrespectful with long adjectives proceeding out of their mouths like running water. Be it known that we will not tolerate disrespectful acts and dispositions in this organization. Your disrespectful acts and disposition have no place within this organization. It is a must that you respect your fellow brothers and others to avoid unnecessary confrontation. We are not ignorant wild bunch of radicals, but a organization upon intelligence which demands our respect from elders. Mold yourself accordingly. If you really want to stop the senseless violence, if you really want to see a lot of this shit stop happening, change your mindset. Change the way you think. That's not positive morale and thinking. That's dumb shit. That's not growth and development. And what we got to remember is number 4. No member shall be disrespectful to any member or non-member. Being disrespectful to others only entices others to become hostile and disrespectful to you, which leads to unnecessary and silly confrontation. Always be respectful, dignified, honorable, loyal, and thoughtful. Now that's law and policy. Now, brothers and sisters, it's time to stop playing games. And let's live growth and development, not just teach it. Let's live it. Through study, observation, and application. Knowledge is the ability to grow and develop through study, observation, and application. Wisdom gives us the ability to apply knowledge wisely. If we want to really just get into the gist of this, let's stop pointing the finger at everybody else and start pointing the finger at ourselves and look at that man in the mirror and ask that man in the mirror, am I living growth and development? Am I truly living the true essence of growth and development? And with that being said, I hope we have learned something together. My name is Shantario, aka Brother Midnight. Love to you all.